In this video, we'll be looking at points, lines, and planes. But before we do, I'd like to briefly mention a relatively new phenomenon called 3D. I'm sure most of us here have watched at least one thing in 3D, at least one 3D movie or something. So you know that feeling of things having a depth, a height, a width, and you're in the midst of it all. Well, I'm going to use that reference as I explain to you what a point, a line, and a plane all are. All right, so let's start off with a point. So a point looks like this, which is wildly deceptive because a point actually has no shape, it has no size, not even teeny tiny, it's just a location. So the reason why a dot does represent it is, of course, you have to be able to see it as you're referring to it, but it actually has no depth, no size, nothing. It is actually non-dimensional. There is no dimension here. All right, so a point is named with an uppercase letter. For example, we can have point A, and it would look like this. There you go. And so that's a point, no dimension. All right, now let's take it one step further and look at a line. So a line is made up of infinitely many points going in two directions. So there we go, that's a line. It has no thickness or width, but it does have the dimension going all the way that way, all the way going that way. So it does have a length. Well, not really, an infinite length, but it does have one dimension. So how do we name a line? Well, a line is named in various ways. We can name it with a lowercase letter. So let's call it line L, for example. Or we can name it with 2 points that lie on the line. So let's say this is A, point A, and point B. We can name it line AB. Or, more conveniently, we don't have to put the line there. If we just have AB, we can draw a little line over it. So that's how you name a line. So that is a line, and it has one dimension only. It has the dimension goes this way. It has no width, no thickness. All right, and finally, let's look at a plane. And I think I need a little bit more space, so I'll turn the page. Okay, so a plane is actually a flat surface. So by flat, it has no height. So let's see. One would say a paper could represent a plane really well. But that's not exactly true because a paper does have a thickness. It's very, very small, the thickness, but it is a thickness all the same. A plane is a flat surface. So it has a length and a width, but no thickness. So that line has no thickness. All right, I think you get what I'm saying. Okay, so let's see. A plane can have several points on it. A plane can have a line on it. A plane can have all kinds of things going on. But how do we name a plane? Well, we name it with a capital script letter. So for example, this plane could be called K, but I would write my K in a funky, cool way, something like that. All right, so how would I name it with multiple letters? Well, if we have points on the plane, let's say we had 2 points. Let's say we had point A and B. Well, that is not enough to name a plane because A, B, we join 2 points, we get just a line. It wouldn't have a width. So we need a third point in order to name a line. So let's say C, and now we can call a plane either A, B, C, or we can call it script letter K. All right, so that's it for a plane. There are just a couple more definitions I want to go over really quickly, and then we'll be done. So the first one is collinear, and it's exactly what it sounds like, co and linear, on the same line. So if anyone mentions that 2 things are collinear, they just mean that they're on the same line. So if I say A, B, and C are collinear, then if A is here and B is over here, C can't be over here. No, no, no. C has to be somewhere on this line, anywhere on this line, but has to be somewhere on this line. So let's just stick it somewhere here. All right. In the same way, coplanar is exactly what it sounds like. We have co and planar, which means on the same plane. So if two things are coplanar, three things are coplanar, they're on the same plane. So for example, here A, B, and C are all on plane K, so they are coplanar. But if I had put something up here, if D was some hair, we're hair floating in thin air, then D is not coplanar with A, B, and C. All right, we'll end it here.